What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Skatepark Showcase. Every now and then I come across a town that just keeps changing their skate park, and this is one of them. I'm in Douglas, Georgia, and this park is shocking to say the least. Let's get into it. I'm not even sure where to start with this skate park. It is not good. I hate to just straight up hate on skate parks, but this one definitely has a ton of problems. So let's just kind of start from the beginning. I grew up not far from here, and in the early 2000s, there was a park in Douglas. It was at a different location. It had been there for a long time, since like the early 2000s. Probably the first time I visited here was in 2003 or 2004. And it was in this little fenced-in area, not far from this location. The ground was terrible. They had like the smallest Woodward package of ramps, so not very much. And there was a mini ramp there. Now that mini ramp, when I first skated it back in the early 2000s, was in good condition, but by the time I'd shot the first episode here in around 2014, it was in shambles. There was no coping, there was holes all in it. It was just completely deteriorating. So fast forward a couple years later, and they moved all of the ramps to this location. Where the ramps are now used to be tennis courts. There are tennis courts right next to it, but on this side, they kept the paint down, and they originally just moved those Woodward ramps here, and that's all it was. So it was definitely a step up from what it used to be, because the surface is way better out here, but those ramps were starting to deteriorate at the time. So I shot an episode for that, and then fast forward a few more years later, and they got a lot of new ramps out here. Not really new though, just new to this location. These are skate wave ramps that used to be at the skate park in Savannah, Georgia, which is a couple of hours from here on the East Coast. And I don't know if they were donated, if they were purchased by the city or what, but they just moved them all out here and just kind of shoved them into where they think they will fit. So over the years, it has slowly gotten better, but it's still really bad. That's the thing. Douglas never really can get it all right at one time. I don't know why, but let's just get into the details of this skate park. There isn't really much of a layout here. It's just a giant square, and they've got ramps tucked up on the sides, and then a fun box in the middle, and then some smaller ones off to one side, and then random stuff placed on another side. It's kind of just a weird hodgepodge of stuff. I mean, it doesn't really have a ton of flow, but it does have a back and forth function to it. So I wouldn't say the flow is terrible, it's just really basic. If I had to say there are sections, I would just say that there are the outer edges, and then the fun box, and then the smaller street section. But before we break down each individual section, I just want to get into the quality and the state, the condition of the ramps out here, because that needs to be covered the most. So the condition of the ramps is it's in disarray. It's very bad. You cannot grind anything out here. It's completely rusted. The paint has come off on all of the edges, on all of the angle iron. And if there was any sort of galvanization to any of the angle iron, that has all worn off and rusted through, and nothing grinds. It's just a shame, really. Some of the surfaces are really rusted. The tops of some of the flats where there used to be a surface there is all broken up and chipped away, and there's just rusted metal underneath, and it just looks terrible and is very dangerous to skate. And another big factor is the ramps just weren't assembled correctly. When they moved them out here, it's like they just kind of slapped them together, and they didn't reassemble anything the way that it should have been. So it definitely wasn't detached and reassembled by someone who knew what they were doing, or a professional ramp builder or anything like that. It's really sad to see, and it's also very dangerous to skate some of this stuff. And not only is the skate wave stuff that was moved here from Savannah terribly put together, but the old Woodward stuff that's been here for years is also coming apart, and there are cracks in between certain banks that you can definitely catch on, and there's coping that's coming off that you can completely remove it. It's ridiculous. Some ramps just don't sit level. There's also one skate wave quarter pipe that has no steel at the bottom. You kind of can't even really skate it. I tried to, did a couple things, but it's, you know, it just shouldn't be here. That just shouldn't be here. If there's no piece of metal to bring it down to the surface evenly, it shouldn't even be out here. So with that all said, let's just talk about what I could skate and whether or not it's skatable and how fun it is. The outer edges are just a bunch of quarter pipes and banks that have just been pushed up against the fence. I guess they decided, well, we're just not gonna bring any of the decks out here. Who needs decks? We'll just have it go right up against the fence. So it's kind of dumb. All of the quarter pipes, you can't even really do much on the coping. You can just do some airs and flip tricks and stuff. It's kind of ridiculous and also frustrating. There are a couple of banks out here that do have a flat surface at the top. There's a Woodward one, but that's got the bad crack, so it's kind of a pain. And then there's a skate wave one where the deck is just absolutely terrible, but the bank is solid and totally skatable. And that pretty much covers it for those outer edges. That's all it is. It's just quarter pipes and banks with no decks on most of them. It really is just another hodgepodge of stuff that's just put together. There's like a little rolling bump that you can just use for pumping. And then right next to that, there is a launch to bank. And then right next to that is an A-frame. All of these are only 4 feet wide, so it does feel a little bit cramped. A-frames are fun. All 3 of those are pretty solid. They're not shaky, so they're totally adequate to skate. They're just kind of skinny. And then right next to that is the Woodward launch to bank. They have 2 of them out here. That's cool, I guess. Kind of pointless. They should just get rid of the Woodward one. That covers it for that little section. Now let's move on to the fun box. I always refer to the fun box as the heart of the skate park. It's the thing that draws the most attention, the thing that typically gets skated the most. This one, not very skatable. It's kind of a pain in the butt. We'll start with the pyramid. So there's a pyramid out here. It's a little janky, but it's not too bad. It's not too terrible to skate. It doesn't throw you off too much. It's a little bent up, but I had a lot of fun with it. I love skating hips, so I did enjoy that. My wheels are a little too soft. I have the wrong wheels on for this park, unfortunately. So I struggled a bit and fell a good bit trying to get some stuff on the hip, but that's on me, that's not on the park. The hip's actually pretty good to skate. And then you've got 2 ledges that go up, across, and down. They would be super solid except for the fact that you can't skate them. They're totally rusted through, cannot be skated. It's really sad. And then you've got 2 stair sets. So one of them is bank to flat to staircase. It's a 6-footer, it's not too big. It's just unfortunate because there's not a whole lot of flat, so it's a little bit difficult to skate, but it is skatable. And then the other stair set is on the far end of the fun box, and I don't really like it. There's no run up, so it's pretty difficult to skate. You can't just drop your board down and then hit it because you can't get enough speed that way. And if you do get enough speed, you don't have enough time to get set up. So the way I was doing it is just setting my board up, running and like hopping over one of the ledges and then jumping on my board and then hitting it. And then there's a fence like right after it. Like there's enough to land, but you gotta be wary of the fence. So that stair set, I mean, it is what it is. It's skatable, but it's not super convenient. And then you've got a couple of quarter pipes. They are a bit janky and not super even, but I surprisingly had a good bit of fun with this random bank that's sitting there in the middle of the park, just off to the side, and you can kind of like hit the bank and then hit the quarter pipe and kind of skate it as like a haphazard mini ramp type thing. So that's pretty fun. That'd be good for a beginner. And then there's a couple of other things just kind of like sitting around like this that I'm sitting on. You can't skate it. It's completely rusted through. Doesn't work, doesn't grind. I guess you could skate it as a manual pad, but this whole surface is just like I'm sitting on rust right now. It's ridiculous, it's terrible. There's another really long grind ledge that you can't skate either. It's not wide enough to be a manual pad. It's just a tall ledge that doesn't grind. I played around on it, but you can't do any grinds. It's really, really aggravating. Then there's the old Woodward fun box that just needs to be trashed. You can tell it doesn't get skated. There's trash all underneath it, and it's just kind of sitting off to the side, taking up space. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Honestly, in my opinion, this park would be better off just getting rid of everything and just letting the locals build DIY stuff out here. Honestly, I bet that they could do a better job building stuff that's number 1, safer, number 2, more fun. All of these ramps are definitely past their prime. I've never said that about a skate park, like, hey man, y'all should just trash this place, but this is by far, of the prefab parks I've been to, this is the worst one. It's such a pain, and it's really sad because I feel like this town deserves much better. Now I know there's gonna be a lot of naysayers that say, man, I would have killed for a park like this in my town. You're probably right, but for someone who travels and goes to different skate parks, I know that this is one of the worst ones that I've been to, one of the most dangerous ones that I've been to, and I've been out here all day and no one comes out here. And I know a lot of the Douglas skaters, and they would prefer to drive out of town to other places than to skate this park. So to wrap things up, like, the positives are, the ground is really good. It's really nice, there's not too many cracks. It's a little dirty in some places, but it's solid ground. There are lights. I'm not sure if the lights work. It's been a few years since I've been out here, but the last time I came out here, the lights did work, so that's definitely a plus. There's a lot of space out here, so you can move pretty freely. Nothing feels like it's too cramped together, so there's definitely good space in between all of the obstacles, so that's definitely a positive. And it's free. Just roll up here. I don't even know if they ever lock the gate. Every time I come up here, the gate's been open, so roll up here, skate. You don't really have to worry about anything. You don't have to sign a waiver, nothing like that. Don't have to wear a helmet, so it's just kind of free to come and skate whenever. Would I recommend this skate park? Definitely not. There are other skate parks nearby. Fitzgerald's got a little outdoor park. It's only 30 minutes from here. They also are getting an indoor park at their skate shop coming pretty soon. Like, that's probably the closest one, and even though that park is smaller, you'd have more fun at their outdoor park there than you would here. So yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. Thank you guys for checking out another episode of Skate Park Showcase. Real quick, I just want to give a huge shout out to all of my Patreon supporters. I am very thankful for you. That's the only way that I'm able to stay on the road, so thank you. If you're interested in donating, just go to patreon.com/parksharks. As little as $1 a month can go a very long way. If you can't donate or just don't want to, but want to help out in other ways, you can like the video, you can subscribe to the channel, and make sure you turn on the notification bell so you know whenever I post stuff. And also, leave a comment, interact. I try to check all the comments. Let me know what you think about what I'm doing, what you think I should do, or tell me about a cool park that might be in your area, and maybe one day I'll be able to go there. I'm so thankful to be done with the skate park. I don't ever want to have to come here again. This is the third episode I've done here, and I will only do another one unless they completely revamp this thing. That I'll be excited for, but I'm ready to move on to the next place. Here's what's coming up next.